Приветствую и я вас. Очень рад вас здесь всех видеть. Очень рад видеть знакомые лица. Я вам расскажу некоторые вещи, которые вы, возможно, знаете лучше меня, потому что с этими задачами каждый аудитор безопасности сталкивается ежедневно. Единственное, я сразу хочу понизить технический рейтинг моей презентации. Мне почему-то дали 200, я бы оценил где-то на 50, потому что любой человек после этой презы сможет пользоваться инструментами, которые я показываю. Немножко о себе. Я занимаюсь тестированием проникновения последние лет 15. И в последние года 2-3 фокусируюсь на социальной составляющей этого процесса. То есть мне интересно, как за компьютером ведут себя люди и как можно повлиять на то, что они с этим компьютером делают. Это называется социальной инженерией. Немножко неверно, но термин устоявшийся, ничего не будем менять. Также мне интересно, как люди между собой общаются и каким образом они контролируют свои эмоции, каким образом они контролируют эмоции друг друга. И занимаюсь всякой разной общественной нагрузкой по этому направлению. Выступаю на конференциях, подкаст записываю, в блог пишу немножко. Сегодня я вам расскажу о том, как занимаются OSINT, кто занимается и какие инструменты при этом используют. Мы немножко пройдемся по тому, что это такое, буквально пару слайдов просто освежим или введем в курс людей, которые в этом курсе не находятся. Потом мы посмотрим на то, что такое low-tech OSINT, то есть вещи, которые выполняются людьми при помощи рук, а не при помощи инструментов автоматизации. Потом поговорим о том, какие, собственно, программы, системы можно использовать для этого. Привычка. Извините, что громко. И, собственно, какие инструменты можно использовать для того, чтобы строить инструменты. OSINT, если расшифровать буквально, это разведка на основании данных, полученных из открытых источников. Термин очень давний, он старше, чем информационная безопасность, в несколько десятков раз. Его последнее определение, это которое вы встретите на Википедии, было дано американским Department of Defense. Open Source Intelligence не имеет отношения к программному обеспечению скрытым кодом, хотя иногда использует его. И он является исследованием как таковым.
It is a study as such, because a study is something more profound, coming up with lessons useful for the humankind, for planning. Why do we do open source intelligence? Because more prepared equals are less nervous. Just to prepare, you need to know what we're going to deal with. OSINT is used differently. You may obtain this information legally, but the way you use this information actually depends on your motivation. OSINT is the thing that industrial spies, journalists use, law enforcement bodies and intelligence officers, that it can actually help plan and commit a crime. We do OSINT and penetration tests. Sometimes the customers do not fully understand the consequences of the test. To set up the prices right, we need to evaluate the number of servers, the number of forms that we'll have to process, and those who do it in a better way, those who come up with a more adequate price, have more chances to win the bid. OSINT need to be used to exclude the mistakenly used systems. And you have a right to attack the client, and the client has shown hosts in the lists when complaints start. They can use reasonable evidence and explain why they have it in this way. Sometimes the customers often forget what kind of systems they have. They don't remember that they need to include them in the list, and then they reproach us of skipping something. It's only working when you do the research yourself. Social engineering, when you manipulate people, when you force people to do something you want them to do. For social engineering, you need to know people. The more you know, the better you are prepared, the more chances for success. It's crucial that you establish trustworthy relationship with other companies, because one of the most successful ways of getting the trust is to introduce yourself to the people who already have been given this trust. The IT support, for instance. You watch the pizza delivery, you watch the couriers and messengers, and then masquerading, giving yourself away as those couriers, for instance. You can pull something off. But of course you cannot introduce yourself as a law enforcement agent. It's a criminal offense. We need to gather some addresses, phone numbers, email addresses to arrange the attacks, like spear phishing, properly. We need to learn more information for the actual reasoning. Without reasoning, you won't be able to convince the client that they should do so. For this, you need to know the hobbies and interests of the staff. You need to learn more about the relationship that they have developed in the company. Not only after that, you need to perform some useful activities. Everything which is happening in virtual reality is sometimes distrustful. For example, if you identify which parking slots their cars are located, and if you would put this information on their windshields, it will convince them that it's actually working, and you'll gain more trust. We learned these results last month. It was established in one of the universities that there are some methods by applying which we will be able to get the password right with 100% accuracy. For example, if some personal data was used for password setting, and if we know this personal data, we'll be able to guess the password right. First of all, we need to know what's important for the client. The business systems that they work with, most of the businesses are automated. For example, in banking there is an ODB, or a core banking system, a billing system, project management cycle. By breaching this project management cycle, you may slow down their performance and have a downtime. And there are CRM systems, a great multitude. Some servers that these systems trust completely, so you'll need to know the DBMS operating systems and networking equipment. What else are we looking for? For example, we need to know the names of the client, we need to know the way we address them, their coordinates, their credentials. These will all help us. You need to know the customer better, and please remember that it's the customer as such and not the specific people that are in the focus. Historically, it has turned out that OSINT is not the most interesting part of the test. This test is actually quite a tedious thing. It's the vulnerability search which is the most exciting part, I believe. So a lot of people who are involved in pin tests see a lot of obstacles on their way, and sometimes proceed directly to the vulnerability search, use the whois and do online requests and searches, and then embark on the next stage. They are actually a little afraid that they'll be buried with this information, which is not true. There are plenty of systems that you can utilize, and I will be showing them in the end. What's more important is when people start getting first hints, they need to drill it down, but if they had continued OSINT for another 15 minutes, they would have found a default password and would have saved a couple of days of work. People forget that not all the information on the internet can be trustworthy. You need to check it and verify it. Kaspersky website had a handbook with lots of advice how you check and verify these facts before you use them. It's not the client's people that are under attack, it's the client, the company which is under attack. Sometimes pin test is ordered to check their people, which is not the actual purpose. If you would like to fire a person who clicks the URLs in emails, it would be wrong, because this person may be one of your best employees. So it's another thing that should be done, rearranging the processes and learning from other people's mistakes and enhancing the protection overall. Wherever you use your computer, at work or at home, there are a few interesting methods which we will discuss later, to be used so that these people will not bring the matter to court and initiate a litigation against you. There are some interesting approach to the OSINT. For instance, if it's a bank, you may order a SIM card, call the support center, or alternatively, you may visit a conference. One of such conferences is arranged today. The conferences see quite a number of people drinking alcohol, and it loosens their tongues, and they start sharing this information with others more easily. You can learn from them, or you can pop into their office, talk to the security guards and other people in their office. It helps. A post box, a letter box is reachable, through which you can steal the CDs or flash drives. Open vacancies, for example, the client is always looking for a new vacancy. You may want to apply and search their office while being in an interview. You may read some information on bulletin boards inside the company. Sometimes, if you get into a customer's office to do the pin test, you may see quite a lot of information written on the bulletin boards, which may be compromising. There may be another way of getting information to the printers is disposal of paper garbage, and we arranged this fake test and invited people who had taken all the paper garbage and took it away from the office. If you work as a ping tester, you need to be registered in all of the social media: Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, and others. It's difficult to evaluate Foursquare. Although there are some artifacts that you can find there as well. What you'd always start is start in Google, then you start searching in the social media. In the high tech, it's crucial you study the websites, general websites and the customers' websites. Content management is done by those people who don't know much about information security, so you may find very interesting information there. Like, for example, insurance policies numbers, which contain all the credentials, the names, the ID numbers, the ISS, in other words. It might also be interesting to check the metadata in the files. The metadata created by the applications can also be useful, containing the software version and name, username, the computer's credential. Kaspersky Lab in February had given a list of all of the male people in February working in their lab by using that method. I will be showing later how you can be using these tools. By the way, there are keywords that you can use to make your search more focused by excluding some URLs, adding specific words and terms. There is a special topic disclosed in the Google hacking book I had written. You may want to read this book if you like. As far as the hacking is concerned, there is a special chapter. Facebook Graph currently has a web interface, and I'm not really grateful to them, of which I will speak later. This is how the dots look like from Google. These are my current or former colleagues. Of course, they won't be happy for me doing so. There's people who work with positive technologies, and you may want to open another 4 pages containing the same stuff. You may automate that. There is the harvester that you can use it. I will show it to you. There is a Foca. Foca is the Google search engine, which extracts the documents for you, and puts them and arranges them in a system. Multigo Radium is a more advanced tool. I'm not going to show it. You may learn it yourself. But Multigo is the expandable tool. Programmers may use the I/O and use Multigo. The Harvester, which sets the company's name or domain. Send a request for the Google use. It will be showing you some data. LinkedIn, Google, and even more if you look for emails. So these are the objects for phishing. Metadata, Foca is working with metadata. We know the username, login, we know how many times they had pressed Ctrl S and what kind of application they were using for Ctrl S. Metadata is not removed here, whereas you can do it quite easily and delete it in a very simple way. Could you please play the video? The video.
Просто мышкой не будет работать. Не будет работать. Небольшая пауза. Сейчас будет демонстрация того, как работает.
I'm going to make a pause, but it's not going to be a long one. We'll show you how Foca works.
Справа внизу, вот там где-то. F5 сначала начнем. Ничего не видно? Shift F5, о! Здесь что-то новое. Супер. Нет, это не троллинг, серьезно.
No, I'm not trying to troll you. I'm quite serious. I'm being very serious. Foca is a serious business. One domain, some additional domains, and we said go, and Foca starts working. Oh yeah, don't forget to save it. Can you actually see the screen? It's the GUI for Google search. Check the file that we are looking for, and we're searching for documents, of course. EXIF data, imaging, we're not interested about EXIF data, we don't need that. Let's go. Searching.
Пока он ищет, мы можем посмотреть, что же он...
While the search is in progress, we'll see what it has compiled. It has compiled a very long Google message, and we'll be getting replies quite soon. You need a fast internet connection for that. Okay, let's browse through what it's going to find. It's going to find out us clients, computers. It will be splitting them into groups. It has found something. And here is metadata, for example. See? There's a special metadata folder. Of course, it takes damn long. Of course, you may want to use something else apart from Google. Okay, 5 PDF files. Penetration document format, PDF. That's what we love the most. We'll download them. It will take a while to download them there. Sizable, 10 megabytes. The free version downloads just 2 files at the same time. Okay, we have downloaded them. Now we'll be extracting. We have extracted what we needed to extract. Come on, work. Just one user. Okay. When they have a company with lots of people, with lots of publications, people like Constantine, there are plenty more like Constantine. So anyway, we take Constantine, we use the general convention, send him an email. Oh, Constantine, would you just please the PDF? There's a mistake in it. It's highlighted in red. And we learn about the vulnerabilities of that software. Anyway, we'll just basically say hi to Constantine. Multiga. But it doesn't seem to work somehow. Okay, we set an empty graph. What's going on? Chip and Dale are running to rescue. I'm being Chip or Dale, so I'm going to rescue you with that demo anyway.
Простите за небольшую техническую заминочку.
My apologies. That Windows OS is not very friendly with PowerPoint. Don't know why. So we'll be adding some more elements to graph. We'll start with domain type of elements. By default, Poterva.com. Those are the guys who have developed this product. Unfortunately, they chose Java as a platform. That was the main error that they had made. Anyway, there are plenty of transforms that we can search through. Cisco.com. So let's be looking for more general information there. We could have alternatively input Cisco manually. That's how you drill down. Let's just look for emixes, something more tangible. So we've added them in a different color. The hosts marked with different colors, blue, green. Let's put them in groups. And let's check what do they have in common. That's what we can actually do. To the hosts, you can find their IP addresses. You can actually have a whole package of IP addresses.
У нас в любом случае есть хосты, которых в DNS нет, правильно?
Anyway, we have hosts here that are not in the DNS. So we'll go to context IP and look for net blocks. Okay, it's working. We've put the information in the IP block groups. We'll be selecting a few IP blocks, checking whether everything is working well and whether everything that we have there belongs to Cisco. 0OS, autonomous system, private networks, don't know why they are there. containing some logs. Okay, the AES is Cisco. Let's check out where they belong. You can do it quite quickly. And you're limited to just one state to make a search. These IP addresses are all American, so mainly they are all located in the United States, like we have it here. You can put them in scenario, and Maltego called them machines, these sets of scenarios. We choose the domain once again. Here's the domain name. In context, we have machines. Like here, the first level print will spring off more information for you automatically. Then we transform the results again and again. That's how it works. Some hosts are out of focus, but you can apply the same procedure there manually if you like. Can I turn on the video? Okay. That's as far as the hosts are concerned. So we'll be adding John Doe here. Change the name. And we'll see what we can do with this John Doe. Look for their email through Google and other search engines. So one of them looks quite similar, so it's good that he doesn't have any personal data, so otherwise people would have left at the nicknames people choose. Let's search for the phone number. Let's search for the phone number. Okay, there's a phone number. Looks reasonable. Ukrainian cell phone provider. It matches these guys from there, from Ukraine. Let's look for an email address. If we do the transforms and they belong to the same node, seems like that there will be two sources from which we can get the phone numbers. It looks close to reality. We also have some information here about the way Maltego had received that data, through which particular transforms. And you can follow the URL that you can't actually see properly. We'll see it right now. That's our block. I wrote it. Okay, please send your CV. In the CV I showed my phone number and my email address. There are different databases. Who is DNA's robtext.com, my favorite site, has it all. Kernel, Spider, is an excellent thing to look for different things. For example, credit cards, YC, a search engine with indexing FTF, FTP, HTTP, SMB service search capabilities. You'll be able to automate your search for credentials. Showdown. It's mandatory to mention there. And if you use handles in Twitter, you can use it as well. For Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, you have the programmed APIs. You can write a software which will be running automated requests and getting the JSON type requests from there. Okay, the developer NPI console, and this console will show you the name, the surname and the ID. If you get more fields here in the drop-down box, like for example the employment history, it will show you the employment history as well. Apologize for that pop-up message.
Успеем? Вот, поменяв.
Anyway, by changing the ID, we can get access to other people's data. Oh yeah. What's happened? Nothing's working.
Это не я. Давайте, может, там, не знаю, пару вопросов.
Okay, I think it's just the right time for questions. A couple of questions. Will we have this PowerPoint presentation on the conference website? We'll have this presentation there. Please check my contacts, or just Google my name. My name is Vladimir Styran. Please Google it.
Подкаст, спасибо, +2.
You're asking the questions about the podcasts. We will have podcasts arranged for you, but never ask me when I will prepare those podcasts.
Микрофон есть. Систематизация. Там в конце пара слайдов есть, обязательно покажу. Если в 2 словах, Малтека, да.
A couple of words. I'm sorry. Yes, there's one thing. It's a case file. The case file is more for investigations or audits, but you can use it as Maltega is doing it for you automatically. I'm not using it though. I'm just using the OneNote. In Microsoft Office, there's OneNote which allows you to do screenshots. So do please use any standard notes application. The OneNote is good because it will be generating one HTML file with all the screenshots that you have taken. It will be scripting it to automate the reporting functionality. Anyway.
Вот.
All right. Open fire. It's still warming up, so it wouldn't open. Would you just please fast forward it and hit it somewhere in the middle? Okay, that's where we stopped. the fourth ID in a Facebook. It's the fourth. Zuckerberg only used Facebook. Don't have too much data. You can copy this URL and add it to the browser and press fire, and there'll be no working history. Because we need the access token. The access token is generated and should be mentioned in the user work history, and this token gives us allowances for such a search. We add a token there, and voila. And we press fire once again, and it works. You can search for people. That's what is called JSON, the most structured data representation. The objects are given classes in very easy fashion. Fortunately, early and unfortunately today, you can not search the working history in Facebook. You can only search for the names of the accounts. For example, the people who share the same surname with me in different countries, but if I put the name of my company here, it's 0. See? And previously we had lots and lots of data, and the outputs were much more efficient than LinkedIn, and then Facebook shut down that function for some reason just recently, and it is still in the system, but not too many. It seems like that they had written hundreds of kilobytes of code for nothing, but something still remains. There is a small application, LinkedIn Extractor. The LinkedIn Extractor creates a query to Google which looks for the LinkedIn accounts. The standard LinkedIn accounts cannot provide you with a good search capabilities. But public accounts are Google cached, so you can use the API by Google to make a LinkedIn search. We do the dorks. Insert linkedin.com site name. It's the title of the page. We exclude the profiles from there, exclude groups and exclude companies. Title is URL. At company name. Vladimir blah blah blah. For the Russian and Ukrainian companies, it does not suit us well, because LinkedIn is not so popular here, but in the West it's much more popular. Seems like that we'll need to do it through Google APIs, unfortunately. What do we need to do in Google to ask questions? Because we need to create a custom search engine in Google. Can we play the video to show that custom search engine? We need to prepare that, register it with our account, give a secret key, set some criteria. You cannot search for it in the whole internet, which is good. We can test it here. That's what we get. That's myself, people with the same surname, and a friend of mine also called Vladimir. And that's the results of the search by company's name. It's real simple. We are checking the options, the company's name, the person's name. That's here. We initiate the Google API. I will be killing these applications straight after the presentation, so don't even try to copy the keys. You won't find anything with my keys. So we set the search criteria like in the previous slide, analyze the results. In other words, there are queries, requests, and H cards. Having information from JSON. And we analyze the requests that are created through the HTTP request module, and they come up with the CSV. That's what we end up with. We have a name, at least a name of the person and their full title. It's enough to find the email. For this you need to know some script language. Python is recommended. I just learned it some time ago. It should be object-oriented. Don't try to use Perl. I like Perl, but it's not suitable here. You can use any language to create transforms for Multiga. What else makes our life easier? My colleague found an excellent site which consolidates so many APIs of the social networks. We set a task to look for passwords for Wi-Fi. And you may use it for other searches, for instance. Or for instance, Google Maps, we identify our coordinates for Foursquare, and now we'll play the video to show you how it works. We check this excellent site /console. Which redirected us to Foursquare, which we've just used. See a wonderful option, the drop-down menu. The great plenty of social networks, API URLs. The first one is shut down, and authentication. If you have a standalone software, you can use it. You add the Google Maps coordinates here and do the Wi-Fi query. Send. And it shows us the path in JSON. So we start looking for Wi-Fi passwords, Wi-Fi passwords. No Wi-Fi password, no Wi-Fi. Password. Excellent. We found the one. A very useful thing. How do we make the results more systematic? A notepad is the best thing to put the results in the system. Without the notepad, don't go anywhere. Or some smartphone applications where you can register everything or take photographs of websites, people, locations. Actually, there are plenty of standard applications in your smartphone that you can use. Or, for example, Microsoft OneNote, where you store everything in the cloud. SpringPad, Google Keep. but Google has been shutting down the services recently constantly, so I don't use Google Keep. OneNote, that's what I would recommend you to use. SMB shares, SharePoint, or use Jarna, which uses Java. Org mode for gurus, if you like, you can use it. Multi-tag case files can also be used here. That's what it looks like. It's absolutely the same. You just fill in everything manually. There are people, people work with someone, sending someone messages, making phone calls. And here's OneNote. A rarity indeed. When the product turns out to be so successful. For example, OneNote has screenshot capabilities, tabs, bookmarks, pages. What do we do with that? How do we develop it? How do we learn more? There is a newsletter, social engineer.org, with a podcast. There are plenty of interesting things as far as the data search is concerned. The two last newsletters is about data gathering, and the papers I've been referring to scientifically explain that if you gather enough data about the person, you can guess the password more correctly. Maltiga, Foca, where you'll need to send your email. Code Academy, which will teach you the Python usage. Don't forget to delete the extractor, because I published their credentials. Of course, it should not be limited by anything. Your imagination is the best way to prepare for pen test. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please ask them. Still have just 5 minutes.